Most people think angels look peaceful, soft light, gentle faces, white wings, but the being Ezekiel saw made him collapse to the ground in terror because what appeared before him did not look human. It looked alive in a way the human mind could barely understand. Burning metal, flashing fire, wheels covered in eyes, creatures moving without turning. And the strangest part is that the Bible never even describes them as comforting. Around 593 BC, while Jerusalem was collapsing and the people of Israel were suffering in exile in Babylon, a young priest named Ezekiel sat among the broken and hopeless when suddenly the heavens opened before him. Not symbolically, literally. Ezekiel says he saw visions of God, and what came through that opening changed him forever. First came a violent storm from the north, then a massive cloud filled with lightning and fire, and inside the fire was something glowing like molten metal. Out of the flames emerged 4 living creatures with human form but terrifying features. Each had 4 faces, a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, and they moved straight forward without turning, as if they already saw every direction at once. Their legs shined like polished bronze. Their wings touched each other, and beneath their wings were human hands, a detail that made the vision even more unsettling because it showed intelligence combined with unstoppable power. Then came the sound of their wings, a noise Ezekiel compared to rushing waters and the voice of God himself, loud enough to shake the soul. But beside each creature was something even stranger, wheels within wheels, completely covered in eyes that watched in every direction without blinking. For centuries, people have tried to explain what Ezekiel saw. Some say symbolism, others say heavenly beings beyond human understanding, but Ezekiel described it like a man trying to explain the impossible with human words. The creatures and the wheels moved together with perfect unity, sharing one spirit and one purpose, and above them, Ezekiel saw a throne. On that throne was a figure with the appearance of a man surrounded by fire, radiant light, and a glowing rainbow-like brilliance. The moment Ezekiel saw it, he fell face down because he realized the terrifying creatures were not even the center of the vision. They were only servants standing near the throne of God. And that changes everything. Because if the servants look this terrifying, what does that say about the one they served? Ezekiel's vision destroys the modern idea of a small, harmless God and replaces it with overwhelming holiness, power, and mystery so intense that a human being physically collapsed in fear. Yet the most shocking part is that Ezekiel survived. After the terror came a voice. God spoke to him not to destroy him, but to call him. And hidden inside the fear was a message that even in exile, chaos, suffering, and hopelessness, God was still on the throne, the wheels were still turning, and nothing was out of control. Maybe that is why this vision still disturbs people thousands of years later, because deep down it feels real, too real. And it forces one terrifying question into the mind. What if heaven is far more powerful, far more mysterious, and far more frightening than we ever imagined? But the story does not end with Ezekiel falling to the ground in fear. Because while he lay trembling before the throne, a voice suddenly spoke from above the creatures. And the terrifying part is, the voice knew his name. Imagine hearing that sound after witnessing something no human mind could fully process. Ezekiel expected judgment, destruction, death, but instead God called him to stand. In the middle of fear, heaven was giving him a mission. And that changes the entire meaning of the vision, because Ezekiel realized he was not being shown these terrifying beings to entertain his curiosity. He was being warned. The same nation that ignored God, mocked truth, and trusted its own power was now collapsing before his eyes. The vision was a message that God was not absent during the chaos. He was watching everything, every kingdom, every secret, every act of violence and pride. Those eyes covering the wheels were not random. They symbolized that nothing escapes heaven's sight. And suddenly the vision becomes deeply personal. Because if God sees everything, then he also sees us, our fears, our hidden sins, our loneliness, the things nobody else knows. And maybe that is the most terrifying part of Ezekiel's vision. Not the creatures, not the fire, not even the throne, but the realization that the God ruling above it all has never stopped watching humanity.